Welcome back to our Laurentian Elite Face-Off. We like to call this segment Dumb and Dumber. And of course, I don't mean my gentlemen and my colleagues who are here with me right now. We mean the spending aspect. Okay, so Jay, you are right now fighting for the good taxpayers of Ontario, and you're going to be making Ontario's case for the dumbest amount of wasteful spending. I don't know if it's fair that you, for some reason, have Premier Doug Ford in your corner. I can't stop looking at him. Why is he there?
Well, he said he was going to look out for taxpayers, so I wanted him to be here to make sure we're looking out for taxpayers.
Oh, that is just entrancing. Okay. And Renaud, you are, of course, making the arguments for the beautiful province of Quebec. I must say, you usually have a leg up here. Unfortunately, Quebec politicians and bureaucrats are kind of on steroids when it comes to wasteful spending. You don't have a background picture of your premier, but you do have your flag with you. I'm impressed.
I do, and honestly, I'll like you said, I'm not even sure why it's a competition. Like it's
okay.
Usually Quebec.
I'm out here in British Columbia. I'm going to be acting as host and referee. Okay, let's get this rolling. Renaud, you were telling me the other day about your example of wasteful spending, and it's so weird. I actually thought you were pulling my leg because it's difficult for me to read French and I wouldn't be able to call you out on it. What is your government spending money on out there?
I think weird is not the right way to put it. I'm not sure there's a word for it, but it's definitely something special.
In either official language, there's no word for it in either.
Exactly. I'm like even with bilingualism, I can't find a word. Okay. So the Quebec government decided that it would invest, it says invest, but let's be honest, spend $30 million worth of taxpayers' cash into a French upstart cargo Zeppelin manufacturer that has no customers and no working prototype. You know, seems like one of those solid investments you can do, right?
Right. Okay. Cargo Zeppelins. And to be clear, just so people are not mishearing you, by Zeppelins, you mean those airships, the big...
Yes, I mean blimps. I mean the Zeppelins, like the Hindenburg, but carrying cargo instead of people. You know, it's instead of ode to humanity, it's ode to economy.
Okay. All right, Jay, I'm sorry, but he's already got a big lead on you. You got to bring it. What do you have there in Ontario?
Well, I'm going to see your blimps and I'm going to add some luxury cars. So in the city of Ottawa, this is municipal spending, I should note. The city of Ottawa decided to give $3 million in tax breaks for building a new Porsche dealership in downtown Ottawa. Now, the kicker is there's another Porsche dealership just down the road. So the city is giving $3 million to get a second Porsche dealership on the same street. And the person who is going to own and run this Porsche dealership, he already owns a Maserati. So I don't think this Maserati dealer actually really needs this $3 million to open a brand new Porsche dealership. As you said earlier, this is not a bunch of single moms pitching together to create a new Porsche dealership. This is someone who already owns a Maserati dealership. And as we know, those cars are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars per car.
Yeah, each. I'm here in BC and we're no stranger, especially in Metro Vancouver area, to very fancy sports cars. But still, if you see a Maserati or a McLaren rolling down the street, people stop and stare. So those things are not cheap. All right, so this is not an order to start up for orphans. Yeah, this is not good use of taxpayers' money. Renaud, that's pretty good. I mean, won't somebody please think of the Porsche dealerships in Ontario? That's pretty good. What do you got for Quebec?
I mean, I gotta hand it to Jay. Like, it's great that you're taking Ottawa into this because we both know Ottawa knows how to waste money, but it's not blimps and it's not 30 million. It's 3 million on something that we know sells. So here's the thing about this $30 million for this upstart French Zeppelin manufacturer. It's just fun to say it. It's not the first time that he asked the government of Quebec for money. Actually, under the previous Philippe Couillard government, they came up to the Minister of the Economy and asked if they could get a subsidy. So at the time, the minister was a little bit skeptical. So she asked some engineers and aerospace specialists to look into it. And basically, they came back with, if I remember well, 2 different reports saying that this was one of the riskiest possible investments they could do. It had very, very little chance of success. And once again, this is upstart Zeppelin manufacturer. We're not in 1920, we're in 2020, well, 2021 now. But they have no customers, they have no prototype. And at the time, one of the flaws in the report is that, so these are used to get cargo out of faraway places like the Canadian North. And one thing you might not know about Zeppelins is that the reason why they stay at the same altitude is because there's enough helium in them to counteract the effect of the cargo, of the weight that they're carrying.
Yeah.
But if you suddenly drop, say, a couple thousand tons of cargo, your airship is going to start, skyrocketing towards space. So one of the questions that the experts asked these guys, these Zeppelin manufacturers, prospective Zeppelin manufacturers, was how are you going to make sure that it stays roughly at the same altitude instead of inadvertently sending people to space once you drop a little bit of cargo? And said, well, we thought about this. We're going to pump water into it. Now, this is for the Canadian North. So one of the engineers asked them the question, I don't know if you guys know, but in the North, well, you get some sub-zero temperatures. And water turns into this thing we call ice. So what are you going to do when that happens? And those prospective blimp manufacturers basically had no answer to that question. And yet they came back 2 years later under a new minister, and we gave them $30 million of taxpayers' cash, supposedly because now the minister has a secret study saying it would work, despite the fact that 2 years before they forgot the fact that water freezes in the North.
I'm sorry. This is why you told me this earlier. I almost can't believe this is true. Listen, I love steampunk and Jules Verne as much as the next geek, but this sounds absurd. And we gave $30 million in taxpayers' money to this, and they don't even have a prototype, right? Like there's not one that we can go look at.
Exactly. Like it's $30 million. They forgot that water freezes. There's no prototype. There's no prospective customer. There's no one that says, maybe I'm interested in this. I'm willing to start buying. No, there's nobody. They forgot that water freezes. So, beat that, Jay.
Jay, I'm sorry, man, but that's pretty good. What else you got here?
Well, Renaud,
Ontario's wasteful spending. What do you got?
Renaud, I have to say, at least these Zeppelins will be working, I don't know, maybe 5-6 months a year. That's, we've got to be optimistic. But no, I would say in the city of Ottawa, now, Renaud and I talked about this earlier. There's no taxes going up in Quebec to pay for this stuff. In the city of Ottawa, residents there are facing a 3% property tax hike. And this is just as we're getting out of COVID, as everyone's been struggling. We've seen huge job losses. Businesses have shut down, restaurants. So there's a 3% property tax hike. And then you add the next point on top of that, which is that this new Porsche dealership that's going to cost $3 million for taxpayers, it's only going to create 20 new jobs. So that means we're spending $145,000 of taxpayer money for every job created.
At the Porsche dealership.
At the Porsche dealership. And they say it's a maximum of 20 jobs. So it could be far less than 20 jobs, and say it's 10 jobs and not 20, you're paying $300,000 for a single Porsche dealership job.
Okay, that is crazy pants. Renaud?
I mean, you're paying $3 million, you're getting 20 jobs out of it. We're paying 30, we're not even getting a single job out of it. So the reason why is that when the Quebec government decided that it wanted to get into Zeppelin manufacturing, it decided to buy some shares into this company called Flying Whales. And part of the agreement was that they would create a new entity called Flying Whales Quebec.
I'm sorry, what? Wait 1 second. It's called Flying Whales?
Yes. There's like the whole story is phenomenal, let's be honest. But yeah, so they would create this new entity called Flying Whales Quebec. And the goal was that all of those prospective Zeppelin clients that would suddenly arrive in North America would get all of their Zeppelins manufactured out of Quebec, ideally creating jobs. Well, the other investor in this Zeppelin project had some ties with the government of China. And when Industry Canada looked into it, they decided that the risk of having industrial espionage was too big, so the manufacturing could not be done in Quebec. So we spent $30 million on potential Zeppelins at some point. with the hope that maybe, at the very least, we'd get a couple of jobs out of it, manufacturing Zeppelins. But it turns out we won't get any. We're just
because of
giving
espionage.
30 million bucks away because of potential industrial espionage. So we just gave 30 million bucks away to a upstart Zeppelin manufacturer with no prototype, no customer, with no jobs here, on the basis that maybe someday they're going to figure out how to get water not to freeze in winter or something like this, and be able to sell those Zeppelins.
Okay.
Can I do a proper mic drop?
Yep. Okay, sorry, Jay. He just brought up espionage. That's the reason why it can't even be built in Quebec. All right, Jay, what do you got? You got to bring it home here, man.
Well, espionage, I'm sure we could find some other governments here in Canada that would be very, very interested, maybe the Ford government, in investing in these Zeppelins to make sure we can get these off the ground. Of course, I'm joking. That'd be a terrible idea for taxpayers.
I mean,
Better
if you
turn around and
want,
tell him that. Tell him
like,
you're not serious. Look at Doug Ford right now and say no.
Please, don't actually do that.
Because if you want, we've got shares to sell you.
Well, I'll talk to my buddy Legault about it and see what we can do. But so I think the last point I would make here in Ontario, and I'll grant you that, yes, we are going to get actual luxury cars here, which something will be built. But this is actually part of a much larger program. So we're giving $3 million to build a Porsche dealership, but Ottawa's also given millions of dollars to build a new Walmart and another $4 million to build a new Costco in the city of Ottawa. And you can bet that billion-dollar companies like Walmart and Costco, we're going to open locations in a major city like Ottawa anyway. So the Ottawa City Council handed over, between those two Walmart and Costco giveaways, $7 million of taxpayer money to open these major box stores that we already know would have opened regardless.
Okay. This is reminding me of when we spent millions of dollars giving money to Loblaws to buy new refrigerators. Unbelievable.
It sounds a lot like it, actually. I remember that story.
My gosh. Okay, gentlemen, this has been highly entertaining and infuriating. Folks, you can either laugh or cry at this stuff. And if you never laugh at it, you will go crazy. So this is why we try to have some fun with this. We have our Laurentian Elite Face-Off and we do a Dumb and Dumber competition. What is the dumbest amount of spending? Is it happening in Ontario or Quebec? Have your say. Put a comment underneath this video and let us know. Do you think Renaud's French Zeppelins wins the day, or do you think Jay and Premier Ford's Porsche dealership in Ottawa wins the day? Have your say in the comments. And hey, if you want to have some more fun, go to our website, taxpayer.com. There you can write angry letters to your politicians and bureaucrats of your choice. You can sign a whole bunch of petitions. And the fun part, we've got t-shirts. So this one is taxes, socially distancing me from my money since 1917. So you can either laugh or cry, but you can definitely wear a t-shirt while doing both. You can also buy hats and even onesies for your baby. Also
which
known
I
as
did, I should say. Sorry, Kris, which I did. Little Sybil is going to have a onesie, taxpayer.com. Nice. So I encourage everyone else to do it too.
They fit very well and apparently wash very well as well. So head on over to our website, taxpayer.com. That's where we are fighting for taxpayers.